March 28, 2002. Faisalabad, Pakistan. Night falls over the city. In a quiet neighborhood, shadows creep across the rooftops. A joint CIA and Pakistani ISI team closes in on a two-story house. It's the result of weeks of surveillance, wiretaps, and intercepted phone calls. Every step has led to this door. Inside, Abu Zubaydah is believed to be hiding, a figure the CIA suspects to be Al-Qaeda's number 3. Not a foot soldier, a strategist, a man supposedly carrying the keys to future attacks. The raid unfolds in seconds. Gunfire erupts. Zubaydah is hit. Once in the thigh, once in the groin, once in the stomach. He doesn't die. Instead, his fate is redirected towards something darker. He's airlifted out of Pakistan, not to a military base, not to a hospital, to a place that doesn't exist on maps. A site not acknowledged by any government. He becomes detainee 001, the first of many to vanish into a system built to erase accountability. This was no isolated incident. This was the spark that lit a hidden war, one that would soon spread across continents, a prototype for a doctrine written in the dark. This isn't Guantanamo. This isn't Bagram. This isn't even a place with a name. It's a concrete room beneath a nondescript building, somewhere in Kabul. No records, no oversight. A man is blindfolded and shackled. No charges, no rights, just silence. What you're witnessing is a government-created void, a black site, a legal limbo designed not to detain, but to disappear. This isn't the result of battlefield chaos. This is a system, engineered secrecy, a policy crafted in meetings and signed into law with a pen and a handshake. After 9/11, the rules changed. The country wanted certainty, revenge, protection, and the intelligence agencies were given full license to deliver it, by any means. The Patriot Act opened the door, but what stepped through was more than surveillance. It was a whole new category of war. Invisible, asymmetric, and unbound by tradition. Abu Zubaydah didn't go to trial. He didn't even know where he was. He was waterboarded, slapped, confined, and humiliated. Not because of who he was, but because of what the CIA thought he could be. His treatment became the blueprint. From his bloodied cell in Thailand, a global network was born. The phrase was enhanced interrogation, but what it meant was this: controlled drowning, freezing, prolonged nudity, beatings, sleep deprivation so severe it triggered hallucinations. Abu Zubaydah was waterboarded 83 times. His body failed. His mind cracked. He lost an eye. He wept. He begged. At times, he became unresponsive. Interrogators called it success, but CIA records showed he gave up no actionable intelligence. The brutality wasn't uncovering truths. It was fulfilling an agenda. They weren't interrogating for answers. They were interrogating to validate a system they had already invested in, a system they couldn't afford to admit was wrong. The experiment in Thailand was just the beginning. Soon, secret facilities were cropping up across Europe and the Middle East. Poland, Romania, Morocco, Lithuania, Afghanistan. Some were in military bases, others in converted warehouses, but all were cut off from the law. Prisoners were labeled as threats, but the reality was murkier. Men were captured because their names appeared in someone else's phone, or because they had a similar name, or because they were sold by rivals for cash. CIA planes flew them across borders under fake tail numbers. The companies operating those flights were fronts. Paper trails were shredded. The system worked because no one could prove it existed. Even if you knew, you couldn't say it. And if you said it, you couldn't prove it. This wasn't just the CIA freelancing. The operation had top-level backing, memos from the White House, legal opinions from the Department of Justice, briefings to senior members of Congress. Foreign partners didn't just turn a blind eye, they built the cells. They monitored detainees, and in return, they received weapon deals, economic assistance, and diplomatic support. The system was global, and it thrived not because of rogue elements, but because of collaboration, secrecy, and mutual benefit. When the truth threatened to emerge, it was not met with reform. It was met with more secrecy. Torture became enhanced interrogation. Ghost prisons became black sites. Then came the leaks. Journalists began connecting dots. Flight logs surfaced. Dana Priest's Washington Post investigation named names and listed countries. Europe demanded answers. The CIA responded by destroying 92 videotapes of interrogations. Their reasoning? To protect agent identities. But critics saw something else: the systematic erasure of evidence. Human rights lawsuits were filed. Governments scrambled to deny involvement. Some countries even began their own investigations. Still, no one was held responsible. The cracks were forming, but the structure remained. In December 2014, the Senate Intelligence Committee released a 500-page summary of its investigation. It was damning. The report confirmed what many had feared. Torture had been widespread, ineffective, and falsely justified. One detainee was repeatedly slammed into walls until he lost consciousness. Another was kept in a coffin-sized box for hours. One man froze to death on a concrete floor. Of the hundreds detained, more than a quarter were later determined to be innocent or wrongfully imprisoned. Yet none of them were compensated. None were given a public apology. The CIA had misled the public, misled Congress, and even misled the White House. Today, the black sites are gone, or at least they're no longer officially acknowledged, but the machinery that created them remains. The logic of preemptive detention lives on in drone strikes, AI surveillance, and digital blacklists. The systems of control have evolved. Instead of a cell in Poland, there may be a kill list on a screen. Instead of waterboarding, there's algorithmic profiling. But the outcome is the same: people labeled threats with no chance to defend themselves. The question isn't whether the black sites will return, it's whether they ever really left. This is The Context, where we investigate power, secrecy, and the people caught in between. Because when silence becomes the norm, someone has to ask the questions no one else will. And sometimes, the most dangerous truth is the one hiding in plain sight.